Trenton 365 with Jacque Howard. Profiling the businesses, organizations, and people that make Trenton better.
Hello, friend, and welcome to the Trenton 365 show. I'm your host, Jacque Howard. You're watching over WPHY Channel 25, covering Mercer County, New Jersey, through the Verizon Fios network. You're listening over WIMG 1300, New Jersey's oldest radio station. And you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at WIMG 1300. The Trenton 365 has a Facebook page, Instagram, and Twitter as well at Trenton 365. Those of you who are watching on TV get to see this lovely yellow and blue Trenton Cycling Revolution Team Trenton cycling jersey. I pulled it out today. Just last week, I believe it was Bike to Work week. So I decided it was such a lovely day that I was going to ride my bike here to the station, and I had a good time. There's also a bunch of different things happening with the biking scene here in Trenton. Not only can you join Trenton Bike Modification Association and work on building tall bikes, but there's also bike artwork that's happening throughout the city. There's a bike ride that takes place once a month from Trenton Social. There's bike polo, and we're working on having a skate park built in the Amtico Square section in East Trenton, and the idea behind it is that BMX, biking, rollerblading, as well as skateboarding can all take place in this outdoor park. You can find out information on the Facebook page, Friends of Amtico Square. In the studio with me is Kristin Leung. Now, Kristin has been on the show several times. When you guys see her, you're going to say, oh, there she is. Not only is she a yoga instructor, well, let's back it up. She's an entrepreneur, but she's a yoga instructor. She's also an educator. She's a Live Strong organization ambassador. And we're going to be bringing all this stuff together, and we're going to put some teasers out as well about some beginner yoga classes that she's going to be working on with myself and Inokin Fitness. So without any further ado, Kristin, welcome back.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Sure thing. And as always, you look fantastic. And I'm always checking out your Instagram feed and finding out where you are and who you're doing yoga with and where you're traveling to. So let's talk a bit about, first of all, where you're teaching right now and what's going on at that school district.
All right, so I am an 8th grade physics and geology teacher at the school district of Upper Dublin. It is in Fort Washington, Pennsylvania, actually, right in the town next to where I grew up. So that's kind of how I found myself drawn to that school district. This is my 11th year with the district.
Wow. You know, when we think about, I know I do, when I think back to my teachers and stuff, and they say, oh yeah, I've taught for so many years, and you think about how many children's lives that you've touched, you start thinking that you end up becoming, if you're a teacher, you've parented in some capacity tens of thousands of kids.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think about not only my 11 years teaching in the public school districts, but I just had my 21st anniversary working at the YMCA, working as a swim coach and a gymnastics coach, dance teacher, camp counselor, yeah. I mean, if all the kids that I've ever had any sort of, part in their life came around, we'd have to, fill a stadium
or something.
Yeah.
Now, were you always passionate about helping out and teaching people?
It's not something that I recognized early on, when I was young, but as soon as I was old enough to get a job, 15 years old, I was working at the Y, teaching gymnastics, teaching swimming. It just kind of naturally came to me. I didn't even really have to think about it. I don't know if that's the result of being the daughter of an educator, but it is something that is certainly now, that defines me. I am an educator. Even when I'm not at the Y, I'm not in school. Like I said, I'm out there teaching yoga. I do community education with Live Strong. I just walking down the street, if I see somebody that looks a little puzzled, I might pop in and say, hey, how can I help you? Maybe I can't today, but I'll try. So.
Now, you said that you're a child of an educator. Now, as you've gotten older, when you realize that is who you are as a person, did you go back to your mom and say, Mom, this is who I am and thanks? One of those kinds of conversations?
I'm embarrassed to say I haven't, but now I know that I should do that.
Okay, all right.
I'm going to make a little note in my phone. It's actually my dad. I'll give Dad a call.
All right, give Dad a call. So, Dad, because of what you did, I am an educator. Okay, I'm going to make a note here, too.
Yeah.
All right, so Last time you were on the show, you were talking about Live Strong and that as an ambassador and how you've been recognized nationally for this organization. Most people know Live Strong because of Lance Armstrong as the foundation. I'd like for you to briefly rehash that because I know that's part of the history. Right. But then let's talk about where the organization is now and the work that you're doing as an ambassador.
Absolutely. So, Lance started the program 21 years ago because he is a cancer survivor, multiple-time cancer survivor, and he recognized that the cancer journey is trying, to say the least. It's draining emotionally and financially, and people need somewhere to go where they can just make one call and someone will help them navigate this horrible journey. Everybody knows the Yellow Live Strong bands. I still rock mine. I think the only time I ever took it off was for my sister's wedding. So you're welcome, Colleen. We have helped tens of thousands of people. We've saved survivors millions of dollars in our various programs. I actually had the chance to meet Lance shortly before his troubles began in 2012. Great guy. He started the program for all the right reasons, and right after all of that nonsense, people would sometimes give me a hard time, like, why are you still affiliated with them? I said, you know what? He's a human. He had some personal difficulties, but that doesn't take away from the work that we're doing, working with cancer survivors and offering these services that are so needed. And right now, the stats are that one in every two people in the U.S. is going to have a cancer diagnosis sometime in their life. Like you will get a cancer diagnosis, and if you are one of the lucky folks who doesn't get that diagnosis, you will know someone. It might be your sister, your brother, your mother, your neighbor. Someone you know is going to be touched by cancer. So the work that we do is on behalf of all the folks who have to hear those words, you have cancer. So, after Lance made his, departure, we did have a hard time. We had a couple of different folks come in as our CEO, and then about 4 years ago, Greg Lee, who was our CFO for 10 years, stepped in as CEO, and he has really done some amazing things to try and revitalize the program. The program that I'm involved in is the Live Strong Leaders program. There are currently about 90 volunteer leaders around the U.S. Working in our communities, really filling in the needs of that particular community. So we're being in the Trenton area, in Mercer County. I don't really have to worry so much about educating people about what cancer is and where to get treatment. We have some of the best cancer research facilities in the area. What my work focuses on is community education about, one, what Live Strong is, the services that we offer, including free navigation services, help with finding clinical trials, assistance with dealing with insurance, assistance with trying to find second opinions. We have an amazing fertility preservation program that has saved millions of dollars, helping young adults save their sperm and their eggs so that after cancer treatment they can become parents at some point. So these programs are needed. People don't know that we have this available and that it is completely free. And whatever we are not able to offer through Live Strong, we have a network. We're connected with other nonprofits and service organizations all around the country. So maybe you can't fly to MD Anderson in Texas to get a clinical trial, but they might be able to hook you up with somebody at University of Pennsylvania or Sloan Kettering or something like that. As a single person who's going through cancer treatment, you're already stressed out enough. You may not know who to call. Your doctor might not know who to call, but if you call Live Strong Navigation Services, they will find out for you and they will do the work for you. So this is something I've been telling people for years, and then 2 years ago, I actually had to call Navigation Services as a caretaker. Both my mother and grandmother were diagnosed with cancer within a month of each other. And so my role changed. And for all the years that I've been working with survivors, it does not prepare you emotionally to have that come home. And I was really thankful that I had the knowledge to call Livestrong and to have, my nurse navigator was Pam. Pam and I spent a lot of time on the phone. She sent me lots and lots of emails, and it wasn't just the services like, hey, Kristin, I want give this doctor a call, ask them about this particular treatment. I'm going to call your insurance company for you and ask them about, this charge. It was even just, helping me emotionally, deal with it as a caretaker and providing some support for my mother and my grandmother while we were going through this journey together. So.
Well, I want to say thank you for being candid. It's always a pleasure to me when my guests can feel comfortable enough to share personal things like that. And I hope and pray that everything's well with your mom and with your grandmother as well. And I'd like to have you share your contact information real quick.
Sure. So you can reach me by email at Leung, Leun as in Nancy, G as in George, .Kristin, Kristin, @gmail.com. I can also be reached on Facebook at Central Jersey for Livestrong. And if you're on Instagram, I am Kristin Leung Wellness, Kristin Leung Wellness.
All right, and I want to repeat those real quick. The main one I'd like to have people check out is Central Jersey Livestrong on Facebook, and your email address is your last name, Leung .Kristin, Kristin @gmail.com.
Yes.
All right, great. So, I also want to back up and talk about you as an educator, right? And the reason why is I've known you for years, and I knew that you were an educator and that was your passion, but I don't think we ever talked about specifically about your passion for science. and the way you lit up when we were talking earlier about teaching physics and science in general. Have you always been passionate about the sciences? And if so, how does that translate to where you are now, since there's such a strong push to have more young people involved in sciences, but particularly girls?
Yes. So growing up, my father was a social studies teacher, but was also really interested in astronomy. And when I was in third grade, my father went on a sabbatical and we moved to Hawaii, where my parents were also both nurses. So there's a little bit of the science background there. Mom and Dad were both nurses. And in Hawaii, my father was a member of the Hawaiian Astronomical Society and would bring my sister and I to star parties, which, you can go to star parties here in Jersey or you can go to them in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Totally different, right? And I don't remember this, but my father reminds me at least once a year that apparently I wrote an article into Astronomy Today. I honestly can't even remember. I guess it's about time for him to remind me again what it was, but I felt very passionately about something that I had seen. And I wrote a letter to Astronomy Today, and they published it. So when I was in third grade, I had, a piece published in the Astronomy Today magazine, and that's where it all began. So I've always been interested in science. I knew from middle school that I wanted to do some sort of science. I kind of had a wandering path. I was a physics major, and then I was an astronomy major, and I ultimately ended up majoring in geology, and then I went back to Mercer County College after I got my master's degree, and I went in for biology. So I have a little bit of all of it because I'm a nerd. What can I say?
All right. I'm speaking with Kristin Leung, who is a Livestrong ambassador, but she's also an entrepreneur and educator. We were just talking about sciences, but we're going to get into her experience and her efforts with teaching folks yoga in just a moment. You're listening and watching the Trenton 365 show, and we'll be back after a short break.
Every Friday night home game at Arm & Hammer Park are the perfect salute to New Jersey when your Thunder take the field as the Thunder Pork Roll. All fans can take advantage of $2 pork roll sandwiches throughout the game and see New Jersey's home team wear special uniforms and hats featuring the Thunder Pork Roll mascot, Slice. Special merchandise and tickets are on sale now. Find yours at TrentonThunder.com.
Need a truck to move? Let Justin's Rental of Selman's BP save the day. Justin's has the right trucks for all commercial and residential moves. Justin's has the moving supplies and boxes available. Justin's Rental at Selman's BP has everything you need for your move at affordable prices, featuring the best in pickup trucks, 10 and 15-foot box trucks, and vans. Justin's Rental at Selman's BP is located at 2596 South Broad Street, across from the McDonald's in Hamilton. For your rental truck needs, call 609-888-3327. That's 609-888-3327. Justin's Rental at Selman's BP. If you are moving, we have the trucks to meet your moving needs.
Welcome back to the Trenton 365 show. As usual, the conversations off the air are pretty awesome, and I'm putting Kristin on the spot in about 15 seconds to talk about what we were talking about. But you can send me an email, Trenton, the number's 365, show@gmail.com. Trenton365show@gmail.com. So Kristin and I were talking off of the air about, working out. And we both have the same physiological experience when we don't work out. Like, we don't feel the same. Obviously, there's the whole way that you look. And I said, well, what do you think that is? And do you want to elaborate a little bit on it? Without going into any technical terms.
No, we're not going to go into the technical terms. So it's been a while since I've been teaching physics too long. So, really, it's the endorphin rush. It's the chemical, reactions and hormone releases that your body goes through when you're working out. That's why you feel great after. You're working hard, you're sweating, you're grunting, and then after the fact, you're like, man, I'm so glad that I did that. You kind of get those a little boost of dopamine, and everything is loosened up, blood flowing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when are we going to get to the gym?
We're going to work that out. We're going to make that happen. But after we start the yoga, we'll start that.
Sure.
So when you're physical training, because you're an athletic trainer as well, when you're teaching someone, how do you explain to them, just stick with it until you feel that change in your body chemistry?
So for brand new people, that is a hard conversation to have. And for me, it's about making small, attainable goals. Like, just if you don't go to the gym, you don't go out for a walk, like, all right, how many times a week would you like to go today? What is feasible for you? What can you actually go in without making your life difficult or resenting it? So maybe yesterday you walked 5 minutes. All right, today it's a beautiful day. Can you go out for 10 minutes? Last week you tried a new lift and you lifted 20 pounds. Could you try to do 25 pounds this time? Just a little bit more. Find one little tiny way to just ramp it up. Not throw a whole bunch of stuff at yourself, just a tiny bit, and you're going to start to feel the difference. You're going to start to see results, and then it just kind of snowballs. It's going to become addictive because you're going to feel better. You're going to look better. People are going to notice that your energy is higher. Your clothes are going to fit better. Like,
you're going to sleep better.
Yeah,
you're going to have this natural tendency to eat better.
Less pain. Like, everything comes together, but it really is about the baby steps. I mean, in general, I find people they have these lofty goals, and it's just not attainable, and it leads to failure. You get frustrated, and you throw your hands up like, I can't do this. This is for other people. I mean, even for me, I had my ACL replaced 9.5 months ago. And I shared with you, like, I was afraid to go to the gym. I gained 15 pounds of the bad weights. And I just told my physical therapist, I can't do it. I'm never going to do this again. And she kept, first step was just come into your physical therapy appointments, Kristin, because I was skipping them. All right, so I went from my once a week, then I started seeing her twice a week, and then I would see her twice a week, and I'd go for a walk, and then go see her twice a week, then I was going for a walk, and then I was going to the gym. And, it's been a couple months, and now I'm at the gym 5 days a week. And if you would ask me this 6 months ago, I would have said, nope, cancel my accounts, I'm never going again.
And you're actually riding a bike because just recently you did the 5 boroughs ride with Live Strong. Let's talk about that.
I did. We did the 5-borough bike tour, going through all 5 boroughs of New York City. That was on Sunday, May 5th. I was part of Team Live Strong. We had 44 riders, and we, as charity riders, are required to raise money for our charity. And I'm really proud to say that we raised $56,000 for Live Strong. So that money is going to go to the organization. It's going to go to funding all those programs that I was sharing about earlier. And to be honest, just being with that group of people who are passionate about working with the cancer community and about, doing what is right to help other people, it's so empowering, and it just kind of like fills my cup. Right, it is what I need to get that extra burst of energy, especially as a middle school teacher in May. I'm dragging a little, but I am. You said you're not a cyclist. I am not a cyclist. I had to borrow somebody's daughter's bike from work. It was a little too small. It was a mountain bike, but I did manage to finish all 40 miles in the 50-degree rain. And I will definitely be doing it again. And I invite anyone else who's listening, if you guys want to hook up, if you want to know more about Team Live Strong, reach out to me, and I'll be happy to tell you about it. Yeah.
Now, I want to throw this out there because I know, I guess it was maybe 2 years ago when you were in, we were talking about how Live Strong can start doing a bit more in Trenton. Maybe that's how we can do it. Maybe we can kind of come up with a dual thing where it's like we can do some bike riding and we can do some weight training and yoga, something like that together, under the auspices of how this can bring more education to Live Strong. We'll work on that. But
Absolutely.
I'll go to the gym with you if you promise to ride a bike with me.
All right. You got a deal.
All right. Gym and a bike. So I want to bring this back to the small goals that you were talking about. Before we started the show, and one of the main reasons I wanted to have you on was to talk about yoga. You as a yoga instructor and practitioner, but also the physical and the mental side of it, of like helping you feel better. And I know a lot of people, when they hear yoga, it takes them to this place where they think about the spiritual aspect and the religious component to it, if they even feel they have one. But I'd like for you to talk to me, like from a very beginner's perspective of the physiological and the physical changes that happen when you just do these movements.
Absolutely. So my journey as a yoga instructor actually started through my work with Live Strong. I had been working with cancer survivors in a fitness and wellness setting for many years. And I started my own personal yoga practice, and I felt a change in myself. I felt that I was not only feeling stronger and more flexible than I had been in years. Like I did pull-ups. The last time I had done pull-ups, I was 12, and there I was at 35 years old. I just did a pull-up. I'm like, I think I'm going to try this, and it was because of yoga. In addition to those physical benefits, I was sleeping better. I was having fewer migraines. I was staying calmer under stress, and it took me a while to put it together. And then I had one of those light bulb moments, like, oh, what's the change in my life? It's my yoga practice. So I took that and I started researching yoga for cancer programs, and it kind of took me in different places, and I ultimately settled on a program that is offered through Duke Integrative Medicine down at Duke University, and I made the right choice. It is a research-based, evidence-based program. Researchers and doctors at Duke University have been working with cancer survivors and doing clinical trials, like how is yoga going to benefit someone going through cancer treatments? And the results of the research is just astounding. And me as a scientist, like that's what I wanted to hear. That's what I needed to see, the data. All my yogi friends are telling me, all the spiritual stuff, it's going to work, it's going to work. And I'm thinking, it's mind over matter. I don't know. I don't know if I can buy it. But when I, had scientists in front of me presenting hard data, I was like, that's it. Like, everyone needs to do this. If doing breath work and some stretching can help someone who is undergoing chemotherapy, putting poison in their body, work through their pain, help them sleep better, put their mind at ease, then, I mean, for any one of us just living our lives, like, what are the benefits going to be? So that is something that, I've kind of taken that and I started running with it, and I want to make yoga accessible to everyone. I mean, I can't say it enough. Everyone needs to do it.
Mm-hmm. Now, you've also taken the science background that you have, included it with your yoga, as well as the teaching that you have, and you've written a curriculum for a program.
I did write a curriculum. I wrote a program for a local honor yoga franchise, and it was something that was really easy for me because this is something that I do every day. I mean, it was like the kind of lesson plan that I want to write. And so breaking down movements and layering on the physiology, what are the body mechanics and the biomechanics of each of these movements, so that the practitioner, the person who's going through the movement, can really understand, where are you supposed to feel this? What is it supposed to feel like? What are the benefits? What muscles are working? For me, having that understanding of, I should be feeling it, in my tricep, in the back of my arm, it really brings that connection. Like, all of a sudden, I feel like I'm doing it right, and I feel stronger. I feel more confident, and from that confidence, you're able to do more, and you're motivated to continue to come back, rather than going to a class where the teacher might be well-intentioned but is jabbering off in another language and not necessarily making the connection between the movement and your body, and you don't really know what's happening. You're not connected to it. You're just kind of going through the motions, watching somebody else. Mm-hmm. That's when you're going to fail.
And so would you say that your teaching of yoga is for the person who is coming from a very elementary, very beginner place?
Absolutely. I mean, I try and break down every movement so you really know. I mean, I always end up apologizing because I feel like my classes are going so slowly because I'm breaking things down. I'm like, all right, we're going to feel it here. Now we're going to layer on one more little step. Now you're going to feel this and this. And I'm bringing everybody on the journey with me. I'm not just like going for the finish line. I'm going to make sure we're all together. And inevitably, every class, while I'm there apologizing, I'm sorry, we only did a couple of things, they're like, you know what, Kristin, that was fantastic. I knew exactly what you wanted me to do. I felt exactly what you were describing, and I feel fantastic. Thank you. I'm like, all right, my job is done.
And that's almost the true educator in you. You're trying to teach someone how to do something, not to just show them and hand them over to whoever.
Exactly. It's their practice, not mine. I am there to give my knowledge to someone else. So.
That's a great way to finish up. Why don't you share your contact information again?
All right, no problem. My email address is my last name, Leun as in Nancy, G as in George, .Kristin, Kristin, @gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook at Central Jersey for Livestrong.
Awesome. Kristin Leung. Well, we're going to be in touch because we're going to coordinate this beginner yoga class, Trenton 365, and Enokin Fitness. So you guys are going to be seeing a lot more of Kristin around. And if you see her out and about anywhere from Mercer County to Upper Dublin, Pennsylvania, if you want to tap her on the shoulder and ask her a couple of things about Livestrong and about yoga and probably about science as well, I'm sure you could probably have a great conversation over some tea or coffee.
Absolutely.
All right. You've been listening and watching the Trenton 365 show. Stay tuned for the second portion.
been good. Now there's nothing like a true friend. Somebody you can truly depend. When everybody walks away, I know that you would always stay. What a friend we have in Jesus. All our sins and griefs to bear. What a privilege to carry everything to God in prayer. But the blood of Jesus, all about sin to bear. What a privilege to carry everything to God in prayer. 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 See what a friend we have in Jesus. Every burden you got, he'll bear. What a privilege to carry. Ain't nothing like a true friend. Somebody you can truly depend. Everybody you seen walking away. Watch God stay. This friend I'm talking about is Jesus. Everybody you got held back. All you gotta do is carry everything to God in prayer. The way got a friend, and Dave got a friend. And Anthony's got a friend. And Jesus, he's a mighty, mighty, mighty good friend. Yes, he is. Hey. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. You got a friend, yeah.
And welcome back to the Trenton 365 show. You can send me an email, Trenton, the number's 365, show@gmail.com. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Trenton 365. In the studio with me is Amini Sababu. Now, Amini, I was just sharing with her, she's a fixture in this region for so many positive things. And she's also one of those people who you probably have seen her out and about doing some stuff, but had no idea putting 1 and 2 together and said, well, why did this happen and who was part of it? I'd like to say she's one of those folks who considers what she does back at the house is more for the cause, not for her own social, highlighting, we'll say that. But she's been doing some amazing things. She's a retired social worker, so that says a lot about who she is as a person. And if you ask around in the city of Trenton, you will be surprised at some of the things that she's involved in and also about how people feel about her. So without any further ado, it's my pleasure to have you here for the first time, actually, over my show.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for those kind words.
I can only say what's true.
Vinny asked me to come on, right? So I said, okay, and I appreciate her asking me. And it took me a while to figure out. I asked her what she wanted me to talk about. And she said, well, talk about the things you do. That's what she said, right? And so I'm thinking, and I'm like, well, it's more or less like, it's like the things that you do. The things that anybody does that's good and makes a difference. I told Bruce Boyd the other day, I said, it's not you. It's coming through you.
Yes.
And that's what happens. We can't take credit for, where we have been placed, and to do what I say is, to me, is God's will for me, because you really can't help it. You can't. I can't. You know, it's like, and it's nothing to it, really.
So being a vessel, I think that there's a lot of people, and we were talking about this earlier. There's a lot of people who do a lot less, but want the accolades that go with it, or the reverence.
Yeah, and that's okay, you know, because I say it all the time, you know, when we look at somebody else and see something, you know, it may be something that is reaching. You know how people are looking to fill a space within themselves, and they think that a car might do it, or a bigger house might do it, or marriage, or just looking. I'm just empty inside. So you feel like it's nothing. So if I do this, then I'll be something. And so I want everybody to see this that I've done, because I'm now wonderful. But it's temporary. You know, it's temporary. And we all grow at different places. Nobody is where they, you know, it's like we grow. And to me, it's like the Creator, God, is constantly moving. There's no place that God is not, you know. And when something is bothering us, or something is like we're feeling empty, that's God saying, I have a gift for you. I have a gift for you. And what happens is that the gift is so big, we don't really, like, really? Nah. And the gift sometimes comes in a lesson. You know, it comes in a lesson. Well, it comes in a lesson because I can be hard-headed, okay? So, let's say, you know, the Creator is like, there she go again. I'm trying to tell her something, but she don't want to listen because she's running around doing other stuff. So, this time, let's just knock her down, right? I got the worst flu. I don't know, I can't do that. You know, so now she got to be still. Or, you know, you want to believe one thing, but it's really not what you should be believing. You need to see something in order, because sometimes we want to help somebody. You know, we want to help somebody so we could be great, right? And, but we're not really helping that person. We're helping that person to learn how to maybe use people. You know, we're helping that person, you know, to believe that they can't do it on their own, you know, because they can get it from us, you know? So, in that sense, you know, then we get angry because now we're not getting the praise or the whatever else we're supposed to get from this great thing of helping you, because you need the help. But I think you're really using me.
Yeah.
You know, you are, because I've taught you how to use me. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's something just dawned on me. And I think watching you in public and how you maneuver in public, it really just dawned on me that you're actively trying to be led spiritually.
Well, I don't believe in separation. That's the one thing.
There we go.
I don't believe in separation.
Okay.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that God is only in such and such a Baptist church, or in the city of Trenton, or you know, I mean, or you know, I just that's the way I move. You know, I don't believe that somebody is better than anybody else. I don't believe that, you know, because you got gobs of degrees or something like that, that you know more than that old man sitting on that stoop, or that elder who's always quiet and never says anything, but is very, very observant of everything that goes around. And if we would just listen, if we would just ask her, spend time with her, she would give us a wealth of information in a few words.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And I think you just nailed what I was feeling. And when I talk to folks and your name comes up,
Mm-hmm.
it's almost always the same. People are always excited and just have such warm things to say. And I would assume that that's not really that important to you.
You know, I watched the program. It's this lady named Brene Braun or something like that. And she said, how many people have said, I don't care what anybody thinks about me? And people raised their hand. And she said, yes, you do. But care about the people who care about you, who tell you the truth. You know, what everybody else is chitter-chatter. And I wrote down here, I've been through everything known to man. I have had experiences in my life where people could have talked. You know, I'm saying that, you know, my life has not been like a perfect, you know, or anything like that. And I've seen a lot. In the 38 years in working in the social service field, working in the streets of Trenton, you know, I've seen a lot of pain. And I'm a cancer survivor. You know, I could say a whole bunch of stuff. But with that, and like I said, when, you know, the Creator touches you and, you know, you're feeling some pain, what that means to me is that God is saying, I have something that I want to give you. I have a gift. So what that gift is that there's nobody out here, you know, and this is where we got to get as a community. You know, my belief is that, you know, with everything that's going on and all of this terrible stuff, I guess, that's going on, you know, folks say it's the end of the world, the end of time, and things like that. And my response to that, good. You know, it is the end of times. It's the end of times the way we know it, you know? Goodbye hatred, goodbye greed, goodbye racism and isms and things like that. But it's going to fight its way out. So, I mean, a long time ago, I said, you know what? It came to me. It's like, all of this stuff. Are we at war? Is this a spiritual war like that? Because I'm like, anytime you see bodies laying in the street, that's an indication of war, right? Isn't it? Isn't it? I mean, and who are we to say that this mother's son is less than my son?
Yeah, like a casualty of war.
Plus, in my years of social work, I worked and lived through the epidemics of, I saw it with my own 2 eyes. Crack took good mothers and good fathers who had children. We didn't know what to do because it was such a powerful drug. Children followed them into the crack houses where they were touched, neglected, punched. You know, I mean, I had a client that was had a paper from the psychologist that said, you know, that she would show that she was diagnosed as a kleptomaniac because she learned how to steal when she was like 5 years old and couldn't get out of that habit to feed her siblings and to clothe her siblings. So these are just the little teeny tiny things that we don't even think of sometimes when we look at our brother or our sister who is stumbling, or the young girl out here with the mask on and the makeup and all the hot pants, which I used to wear as a matter of fact, but
I want to interrupt you because I want to make sure that I keep myself on track.
Okay, good.
Steve Cook will make sure. Producer Steve Cook, DJ Say Hey What? Will absolutely let me know. But yeah, we're going to come back and start talking more about your work as social work. But I really want to drill down on what you see as the positives that are happening in the community.
Good.
And yeah,
Good.
and I'm going to preface this by saying that I know you will not toot your own horn, so I'm going to do it just at this break, and then I'm going to do it later on because I know that you won't.
I got it here.
All right.
Okay. All right.
So in the studio, we've got Amini Sababu, who's going to be talking. Just to briefly, she's a retired social worker, but she is well known throughout the region, especially here in the city of Trenton, with the community work that she's doing. And we're going to be talking after a very short commercial break about some of the positives that are taking place here in the city. You're listening and watching the Trenton 365 show.
Okay.
The Redeemed Christian Church of God would like to invite you to their Sunday morning services at 300 North Clinton Avenue here in the city of Trenton. The first service begins at 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. The second service is from 12 noon to 2. If you cannot make it to the Trenton location, join them at 15 Keswick Avenue in Ewing, New Jersey, from 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. They also have Bible study on Tuesday night from 7 p.m. to 8:30. For more information, you can call 609-865-1973, 609-865-1973, or email them at rccgsa@gmail.com.
Welcome back to the Trenton 365 show. You can send me an email, Trenton, the number's 365, and the word show, S-H-O-W, Trenton 365 show@gmail.com. So I've got Amini Sababu who's in the studio, and this is the first time she's been on the program, but I've known her and been around her for many, many years. She's been doing some amazing things here in the city of Trenton and beyond. But more importantly than that, it's her spirit, her demeanor. It's very warm, it's very welcoming, and when you ask anyone about her, at least I have, whenever her name's come up, it's always been very positive things. It's I'm not saying that she's perfect, because none of us are, but the people the circles that I run in, they have nothing but positive things to say about her, and I would be in that boat as well.
Thank you.
So you are so welcome. So one of the things that I know that you like to focus on, besides not talking about yourself, we already got that out of the way.
Thank you.
But there's so many positive things that don't get enough exposure that are happening, and you are a part of a lot of them, whether, I don't want to say the face of them because you very rarely want to put yourself out front, but you're usually part of the air quotes, back of the house team, the supporters, the organizers, bringing it together. And I'd like for you to talk about some of those positive things.
Okay. Well, I've been doing it a long time, so it's just in me to do that. But one thing that, I don't know, I think it might have been my mother who said, look for the good and you'll find it. Look for God and he'll be there. So that kind of stuck with me. So because there's so much turmoil and in social work, you see a lot of things, and if you have a heart, then you feel it. You look for the good. Look for the good in all of these situations and things like that. So, some things that I do, I think it's important for us as a people to know that, our money is important, and how we spend our money and what we do with our money. We may be supporting, this person in the White House right now, with how we do things with our money, you know, and they're like, yay, they don't know what they doing with their money, but they supporting us anyway, you know, so those things are important. So I give an event once a year called Buy Black Your Community. It's always on a Saturday before Black Friday, where we have all black vendors, crafters, network marketers, and it's like a one-day marketplace where we can have conversations that are not on Facebook and not on Twitter or whatever and all of that kind of stuff, where we could have those face-to-face conversations.
Now, I want to stop you 1 second because, folks, the Buy Black Our Community event, I've been for the last 2 years, and just this past year, I vended with Enokin Fitness.
You did.
It is truly an economic indicator of the power of blacks in this region to be able to come together. And most strikingly, I think, for a lot of people, is that when you hear oftentimes, oh, it's a black event, I think that some people get nervous and apprehensive. Well, that's not really for me. and I like to tell folks, we eat Asian food, everybody eats Italian food. Look, let's get rid of these stigmas.
Yes.
And you did a fantastic job of setting up and allowing the vendors to do their part. I mean, we should probably do another show just talking about the Buy Black Our Community
All right.
event, because
Yeah.
I can't even tell you how awesome
It is.
the full day was,
It is.
and to see the economic impact. It
Right.
was
If we
fantastic.
Right. If we could just follow our dollars, you know, if we could just follow our dollars. But that's important. That's another show, I guess, you know, closer to the event. But it's important. It's so important because we're powerful.
Yeah.
We are very powerful, and it pays other people to keep us, like, in the dark about our money. So we're going to spend it somewhere we think that somebody got the stuff better, you know? But we invite white people to buy black.
Yes.
We invite everybody.
Yes.
Come spend your money with us. We love you. Yes, we do. You know? But we are people that love everybody. So anyway, you wanted me to talk about
some of the positive things that are happening. And I would assume that for anyone who is listening, if by chance Amini doesn't mention what is going on, don't give her a hard time. I'm sure it's a laundry list of stuff.
Well, yeah, I just put some things because what I said, you know, it's like, this is all part of stuff that I was writing because I didn't know what to do. You know, I didn't know what to talk about. But, you know, it's all goes to looking for God and things like that. So, I see with my own two eyes. You look for God. I see it with my own two eyes. Black men coming together to save our boys with the Boyd program. I see LaTarsha Williams-Burke and her super awesome team providing an opportunity for us as a people to come together to celebrate and to learn and to grow with the African American Cultural Collaborative of Mercer County. I see Sharice Porter with her Dawn of Hope, the Conservatory with their timeline map of our story. I see Kimmy Carlos and churches now fearlessly having open discussions and educating us about and helping us to understand mental illness and addictions. Churches teaching the history and importance of voting, preaching and teaching about the epidemics that have plagued our communities for generations. I see the walls of separation coming down. I see God. I see a great victory for us. But that's not all. There's so, I mean, look at the guy who paid for the college tuition, the churches that paid for the college tuition. People, what man means, I don't know how it goes, man means for evil, God is like, watch this. And it's a good thing because before we were complacent, we were okay. You know, we got a black president, we found something wrong with him and all something right with him, and we were proud, but and then, you know, we got to find something wrong with ourselves. So, you know, because that's the way we've been conditioned.
Exactly.
You know, we have been conditioned, and we've been conditioned to put up a wall when the truth is told about us. You know, just like you said, oh, well, I don't know if I feel comfortable going there or anything like that. You know, it's to empower your own people. It's to empower your own people. But we get an anxiety attack when that comes. That's a conditioning. That is a generational conditioning. Because to me, when integration came about, our ancestors and elders thought that meant that we were going to be equal. You know, yay, I fought for this. Folks died for this. We got water holes and all kinds of stuff for this. So now, finally, these people that we have a hard time understanding, because who gonna hate somebody? Who got time for that?
Exactly.
You know, what do you think? What? So now, you know, it's over. Nope. So it's a continuous thing. I don't know, fear or whatever it is, but I can't focus on that. I want to focus on the good that's going on. So I have to say that very near and dear to my heart is the Serenity Garden. That I can talk about because that was God-given. I could tell you the story of how it happened. It's like, long story short, I was looking out the window one day, a house was coming down. I got the out-of-town landlord, complained about the property. He called me one day, said, look, lady, do you want to buy this property? I said, if I had the money, I would. He said, well, what would you do with it? I said, I would make it into a beautiful garden in memory of those who have died to violence in my community. He said, I'm going to give it to you.
There you go.
There you go. Now, I don't have the sense enough to say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just complain. And then this going to happen, and then that, and it's going to be mine. No. So I invite people to bring peace and to bring love. And we got to stop. We got to take the time to stop judging. You know, we have to take the time to speak to one another. To see ourselves in each other. I mean, everybody out here got an uncle or somebody that drank too much, right? Okay. All right. So, you know, and it's just like everybody knows somebody. This stuff is out here like this. Or know somebody who's depressed. Or know somebody, you know, going through changes. You know, and we done been through changes. And if you haven't been through changes, if you don't have a story, live long enough.
That's right.
Live long
That's
enough,
right.
because it's those stories that bring about wisdom. That's how we get it. We get our behind beat.
It's like I had heard, I was listening to Charles Stanley many years ago, and he said, we're either leaving a storm, in a storm, or going to a storm.
Going to a storm, yes.
And not so that our focus should be on the storm, but how do we weather it?
Right.
Where do we get that strength?
Right.
That build that community around us. And we've only got a couple of minutes left. I know there's a couple of events that you want to share.
Yes.
But I really want you to come back. And I want to spend more time just listening to you and hear you talk. Because, again, I mean, I've watched you from afar for a long time.
Yeah.
And people who I really admire and who I really respect as human beings and community leaders and business people have nothing but positive things to say about you. So to me, I should be listening to a bit more of you.
Yeah. Well, you know what? There's so many, you know, it's like I'm glad, but if you look deep enough.
We all got them. We're going to I don't want to see them, but I want you to talk about these trips.
Okay. All right. I was asked to bring this to the listening audience of WIMG. The Pastor's Aid Ministry of Union Baptist Church is having their annual road trip, and it's always a Black History event or tour. This is 6 days and 5 nights in 4 cities: Cincinnati, Ohio, Louisville, Kentucky, Lexington, Kentucky, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to the National Underground Railroad Freedom Center, to Churchill Downs Millionaires Row and Sky Terrace, to Noah's Ark Encounter, Williamstown, to the Muhammad Ali Center in Kentucky, to the August Wilson Center in Pennsylvania, to the Senator John Hines From Slavery to Freedom. This trip is just a drop over $1,000. It pays for round-trip deluxe motor coach, 4-star hotels, 5 full breakfasts, 5 full lunches, 5 full dinners and snacks, tickets and admissions to all of these places, all taxes and motor coach, driver gratuity, on-site tour guide, and step-on bus. That pays for everything. If you'd like more information, please contact Pat Melvin at 609-649-8283 or call Union Baptist Church at 609-392 392-2245.
All right, we got to move quick on this one.
Yard sale is June 29th, Saturday, June 29th at Union Baptist Church parking lot, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., rain or shine. Contact Pat Melvin, 609-498-8283, or Union Baptist Church, 392-2245. Thank you. Let's come together at these events, and if you can come on a trip, it's a lot of fun. We just regular people, and we laugh, and some drink wine, and some...
We'll leave it at that.
No, we'll leave it at that.
We got to wrap it up.
Okay.
Amina, but it's always a pleasure. I really appreciate you, and I thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, you've been listening and watching the Trenton 365 Show. I'm Jacque Howard. Send me an email, trenton365show@gmail.com, and we'll talk next week.
Yes.